Today we want to take a look on the partial equilibrium analysis of a tariff. Want to take a look on the partial equilibrium analysis of a tariff. So we will show that on a diagram. Okay, so on this axis we have the price. This could be price of any product. Let's say it's maize. This is the price of maize. On this axis we have the quantity of maize. Okay, we have domestic demand. This is domestic demand of maize as well, so we'll denote it by DM. M for maize. We have domestic supply. This is also domestic supply of maize, so I'll denote it by SM. Okay, so now we want to take into account world supply. Want to take into account world supply. So this is world supply before the imposition of a tariff. World supply of maize before the imposition of a tariff. So what does this mean? This implies that at first this nation imports this amount, which is the difference between domestic demand and domestic supply. The difference between domestic demand and domestic supply, because here we are saying that this is the amount of domestic demand, this is the amount of domestic supply. So the difference between domestic demand and domestic supply is being satisfied by the foreign world, is being satisfied by imports. Okay, so we can denote that, let's say domestic supply, it is supplying 10 tons of maize, but domestic demand, the level is 50 tons of maize, meaning the difference between the two are imports. Difference between the two is the level of imports. Okay, this is before the imposition of a tariff. Free trade, we are making reference to free trade. Okay, so let's take a look. If this nation imposes a tariff on the importation of maize, if it imposes a tariff, let's say a ton was being sold at, let's just say 100 Rand. This is just an hypothetical example, 100 Rand. Okay, if it imposes a tariff, 100% tariff on the importation of maize, let's say this is ad valorem tariff, the world supply will shift. The world supply will shift upwards. Okay, this is now world supply of maize plus a tariff. Okay, and here, since it is 100% tariff which has been imposed, the price will increase to 200. Okay, So this nation have made it expensive, has made maize to be expensive to import. Okay, meaning that at the end of the day, the level of imports will reduce. The level of imports will reduce. How is that so? How is that so? Okay. Domestic supply will increase because the goods have become expensive. So when the price of maize become expensive, it motivates domestic suppliers and they will start to produce more. Okay. As well as domestic demand. The goods have become so expensive, what will happen to demand? Demand will decrease. Okay. The gap between the two is now the new level of imports. Let's say here we have now 20 and here it's now 30. Okay, this means in between, the difference between the two is now the new level of imports. Before, we were importing 40. After the imposition of a tariff, we are now importing 10. Okay. Government revenue is this area. This area is government revenue. After the imposition of a tariff, the government will collect some form of revenue. Okay. So in this video, we have shown that the partial equilibrium, we have shown the partial equilibrium analysis of a tariff. How does it reduce the level of imports? We shall also show how does it affect consumer surplus and producer surplus in another video. Okay. To subscribe for ECS3702, you can go to our website. You can go to our website and you can register for ECS3702 International Trade. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this class.